Hello, I am Mark Faraday, Community Communications Manager at NuNet. Today I'm going to be showing you how to onboard your GPU to NuNet. Now, an important thing is previously I've shown you how to onboard to NuNet using a virtual machine. You have to use Linux, and one way to use Linux if you're using Windows or Mac is use a virtual machine, but virtual machine won't work for the GPU use case. Now, this is just going to be for Windows users. If you're on Windows, you need to use WSL. That means Windows Subsystem for Linux. I'm going to share my screen. And so yeah, virtual machines won't work for the GPU use case. So Windows users need to use WSL. So first thing you need to do is use PowerShell. Actually, let me close PowerShell and I'll show you how to get to it. So search, go to your Windows search and search for PowerShell and click it. And so this is a terminal that you can use on Windows. And in my guide here, I've got a link. This guide should be on the Discord where this video is. So click this, and this page explains to you how to install WSL on your computer. So you're going to copy this command and paste into PowerShell. I'm not going to do this because I've already done it. I don't want to mess something up, but just put in that command, press enter, and it will download. Now, unfortunately, it will go ahead and download Ubuntu version 22. And there's been some problems doing this with Ubuntu version 22. So after you download WSL, you can change the default Linux distribution. So you'll want, well, easiest way to do this is to look at the list, put in this list, and yeah, so you can see Ubuntu 20.0.4. That's the one you want. So, and then take this command and put it in. And then instead of distribution name, you're going to type the name up there, which is Ubuntu 20.04. And so you need to download that and use version 20.04. You can try using version 22, the default one, but one of our developers says that he used 20.04 and he thinks it probably will work better. So if you decide to try to use version 22 and you run into problems, you may have to go back and use version 20 instead. So anyway, I'm not going to go through everything you got to do, but downloading WSL is pretty easy. You basically just put in this, it installs it, and then you need to restart your computer. And when you restart your computer, the Ubuntu, this Ubuntu terminal will now be available to you, and you can search for it on Windows. I pinned it to my taskbar so that I can always use it. So let's go back to the instructions. So after you've gotten WSL and an Ubuntu terminal that you can use, this part's really important. You need to enable systemd. I have no idea what that means. It's just, if you don't enable systemd, you're not going to be able to onboard to NuNet. And there's a guide here that you can click on how to enable systemd. And it goes through a bunch explaining what it is. It's just a thing you have to do. So first thing you need to do is to open your WSL file. I'm going to go through this. So you go to don't use PowerShell. We're done with PowerShell, I'm pretty sure. So we're just using Ubuntu now, and you're going to paste Oops. Make sure I got this copied. I'm going to paste in this command. I need to put in my sudo password. Oh yeah, when you first download WSL, you're going to have to create a username and a password. I had a lot of trouble making a username. What I found was using all lowercase made it work. For some reason, uppercase made it not work. So anyway, my username was all lowercase, and then I was able to make a username and a password. But anyway, so when you first open your wsl.conf file, this won't be here. I've already done this, so that's already there. But you're going to need to paste in this boot, paste in boot, press enter, and then copy systemd equals true and paste that in. And then this is a really important part. In order to save, you have to save your changes that you just made to this file. You need to hold Control and press O, which the instructions say to do that. It says to do Control O to save, but what it doesn't tell you is that you have to press enter after you do that. So hold Control, press O, and make sure you press enter. Otherwise, it won't save. I struggled with this a lot because I thought it had saved and I still couldn't get NuNet to work. So I kept coming back to it. I finally figured out that you have to do Control O and press enter, and then it saves. And then you can do Control X and it exits from that. So once you've edited that file to allow systemd to work, then you should be good. So we're done with that. Oh yeah, that really important. Then you need to power down WSL. So this is also on the instructions. Oops. Yeah, you need to do wsl.exe shutdown, copy that, and this you need to put on your PowerShell. So we're not quite done with PowerShell. So after you've edited your file for Ubuntu, you need to shut down. So if you press enter on this, I'm not going to do it, but you shut down Ubuntu. Then you can just open it again, and it will just take a few seconds and it will be opened, and the new file change that you made to allow systemd will work. All right, now we're ready to onboard to NuNet. So I'm not going to show this again, but in my previous video, which is also on the same provider's testnet Discord channel, you can see how to onboard to NuNet. You just use your new Ubuntu terminal here on Windows, and you use these commands and onboard to NuNet. Just onboard to NuNet the normal way. Then we're ready for the GPU part. I'm going to go through this, close it and get a fresh. Okay. All right, so to onboard your GPU, you need to put in all these commands. There is a command on here. I'll show it. NuNet onboard. There is a command called, oh, I don't see it anymore. Maybe they took it off. Huh. It's on. Is it on here still? Oh yeah. It's on the just NuNet one. Onboard GPU. So onboard GPU is a command info. That means it worked. And then the last thing you can do is you can do NuNet onboard machine learning, and that will also prepare you to yeah, it'll do a long download thing. I already did it, so it didn't need to download a bunch of stuff, but that'll prepare you to be able to provide computing power for machine learning. So that's everything. I know it's kind of a lot, but trust me, it took me way longer to get all this figured out because these steps were, I kept messing up at different steps on here, and I had to figure out how to make them work. But so now I've saved you some of the trouble of not knowing what to do, and now I've shown you everything that you do need to do in order to make GPU compute providing on Windows with WSL work. So anyway, that does it. I'll see you all on Discord. Ask me and I can help you troubleshoot if you have trouble doing all this stuff. And I'll see you all next time.